In today's video, I'm going to be discussing 1.7%, 2.4%, 3%, 3.2%, and 3% yet again, as well as how all these numbers directly relate to your higher Social Security checks. I have all the details for you right here in the video. Let's get into it and discuss what's going on. First off, thanks so much for liking and sharing this video with those buttons right down below. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Also, as long as you're down there, if you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe to the channel as well. Totally free to do so. Always has been and always will be. I'm here for you every single day, no matter what, to help you out in any way that I possibly can, bringing you all the latest information that's hitting the wire. A lot of things are changing right now and a lot of talk about Social Security. So again, thank you so much. Let's get into it and talk about all these percentages, and I do want to answer some questions. Now, recently, I've had some questions come in asking about these percentages and asking for clarification. So I've been writing back to those comments down below in the comment section, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to jump on a video just like this. I'm going to describe exactly what's going on here and why these numbers are very important, and why also I anticipate these numbers to actually go higher here over the coming days, weeks, and months as well, and how this actually translates into higher benefit checks for you and the roughly 72 million people that are currently receiving benefit checks from Social Security every single month. Which, by the way, when I say Social Security, I'm referring to all the benefits that I talk about here on the channel. You know the list. You've heard me say it thousands of times, right? I say it all the time. But anyway, basically any benefits administered by Social Security, you're included, including even VA benefits as well. But retirement, SSDI, survivor, spousal, SSI, VA, you know the list, right? Anyway, let's talk about it. So here we are in mid-2024, right? We are on, and it is time now to start collecting all of the very important data to determine exactly what is going to be happening with your benefit checks at the start of the year, okay? The start of the year being next year, 2025, right? So obviously we're in the middle of the year. The start of the new year is not coming for a while, but looking at all this data, I want to bring this to your attention, okay? So what is something that I follow very closely? Well, I follow all this stuff. I follow all the details with all these economic reports. I follow all the announcements out of Social Security and anything coming out of lawmakers. There's a lot of different things that I follow. But one of the data points that I watch every month is the inflation data as well, right? That comes out around the middle of every month, and I come back in videos and I bring you the latest details and I break it all down as far as what it's going to translate into and what it means for your monthly benefit check. But all these percentages that I gave you at the beginning of this video is pointing out all of the inflation data and the projected potential forecasts of what the COLAs would likely be for next year starting in 2025. As you notice from the numbers that I pointed out at the beginning of the video, they were moving higher, and now, as of recently, the last few months here, they've been oscillating right around this 3% range. Let me say the numbers again. As of January, the projection was coming in at a 1.7% raise. Let's just call it zero because that's literally what that is. 1.7 is about as good as zero, okay? But anyway, that's what the forecast was coming in at. So 1.7 was January. February came in at 2.4%. March, it came in at 3%. April, 3.2%. We're moving in the right direction, right? And then May came around and it actually ticked down to 3% again. But again, we're still oscillating right around this 3%, even though inflation so far this year is about 3.5%. So we're already behind with the COLA that we got so far this year at 3.2% that started back in January. But now we're basically entering into that time right now where all of this information is going to be very key, right? We're going to be leading into the 3 months that they actually use to determine your COLA. Now, again, yes, I've talked about this before in other videos. I talk about all this stuff quite a bit. Reason being is it translates into your monthly benefit and the raise. Now, here's the thing. We can talk about all the piece of legislation. We can talk about all the ideas, the proposals, the concepts, everything that's out there right now that they're talking about and discussing to potentially raise checks. But is any of that a guarantee? No. Well, let's just say this much. Nothing is a guarantee when it comes down to your benefit. Even a COLA is not guaranteed. But here's the thing. COLAs do have a pretty good history of coming back and showing that, okay, fine, we'll raise your benefit a little bit, okay? Lawmakers can say anything they want. Lawmakers can introduce any piece of legislation, any idea, any concept that they want. Just because they introduce it does not mean it's going to happen, right? But the COLAs do have a pretty good idea and do have pretty good history of coming back over the last, 50 years, just under 50 years, and actually raising checks every single year, okay? So this is the thing. Now, there are some years that have a 0% COLA. I don't think that's going to be the case going forward. Considering what the inflation is right now, I just don't foresee a 0% COLA. It's just very highly unlikely right now. But here's what's going on, okay? So here we are entering into the 3 very important months, right? The third quarter of the year and why this is so important. But as you can see here, we've been oscillating right around this 3% projection, forecast, whatever you want to call it, as far as what the COLA will likely be for next year, 2025, right? But it's all going to hinge on these 3 months, July, August, and September, okay? You've heard me say that 1,000 times before in other videos. I say it all the time. These are the months. But why do we care about the numbers leading up to these 3? If it doesn't matter, if it doesn't count, then why are we talking about it? You're right. The months leading up to these 3 important months don't actually count, but it's giving us a trend as far as what inflation is doing leading up to the 3 months, okay? That's why I like to look at it, because it's giving us a trend to look at. Well, most recently, the trend is just kind of oscillating sideways. It's kind of basing right now, right? So we had 3%, 3.2%, and 3%. So again, we've been oscillating right around this 3% range. But earlier on in the year, as we continue to move up and up and up, before we started basing around here, I was suggesting, hey, we could be looking at a realistic COLA kind of right around that 3.8 to about 4.9% range. Considering we've been oscillating around here, I might need to bring that little forecast down a little bit, but we'll have to see what happens here. I'm not going to get too excited and jump on this and be like, I'm changing the forecast right away. I'm not going to do that quite yet. Reason being is I want to see more data, right? This next data point we're going to get here in a matter of days is going to get us a much better idea of what's going on with this inflation. Do we just continue to base around here right around this 3% range, or are we possibly going to tick lower, or are we going to tick higher? We don't know that quite yet. We'll be getting the next inflation report here very soon, like I said, in just a matter of days. But this is going to give us a much, much, much better idea, as this will be the final data point before we start getting the 3 very important critical data points that actually determine what the COLA is going to be. And again, I know that I'm making kind of a big deal about the COLA, but here's why. We can't rely on lawmakers. I mean, here's the thing. They can talk about raises all they want, which they do. They can talk about increasing checks all they want, which they do. They can talk about giving us a $200 per month raise all they want, which they do. But they're not doing anything, right? They can talk about all of this as much as they want, but they're doing nothing. That's the difference, okay? The difference with the COLA is that it might be small, but it's it's steady Eddie, right? It's reliable Rick. I don't know, I just made that one up. Reliable Rick, you get my point here, right? It's the guy that shows up every year, even though it's not very good, it's not very high, it's never enough, it's at least reliable. That's the thing, right? Lawmakers, not reliable. Lawmakers, nah, not really good, right? But the COLA, it's our buddy, but it's not really our buddy at the same time, but at least it shows up to the party every single year and says, yo, I came a little bit, I brought a little bit of a raise here to benefits. Not much, but at least it's a little something, right? That's why the COLA is such a big deal, because when it comes down to anything, whether lawmakers are going to give us something or not, okay? Again, whether they do or not, we don't know yet. They can talk all they want, but one thing we do know is that likely will be a COLA. At least it's something to bank on. At least it's something to look forward to. At least it's something that will help out a little bit while we wait for lawmakers to twiddle their thumbs and go on 1,000 vacations and think about life and whatever else they do, right? So again, that's why I'm trying to make such a big deal about it, is because it is important. To me, it is. I'm not sure. Maybe you don't care about the COLA. That's fine. If you don't care about an extra $18 or $20 or $25 a month, that's fine. I do. I'm just saying, I care about that, right? That's hundreds of dollars a year, and for most people, that's money you need, right? And again, maybe you don't care about that. If that's fine, if that's your case, then it's okay. It's fine, whatever. Everybody has their own opinions on it, but to me, it's important, and that's why I like to focus on and give you the details. And by the way, in this video, I just wanted to follow up to a question that I've been receiving lately, asking about these percentages and what's going on here. But I want to give this to you really quickly. But again, let's just wait for this next data point to come out here in a matter of days here. And once we get that, of course, I'll bring that to your attention and let you know what's the latest forecast. Let's just hope at least we're holding strong. I mean, let's just be real for a second. Regardless of what this inflation data point comes in at and gives us the next data point for the forecast for, the COLA next year, whatever that comes in at, let's just say this much. We already know inflation's going up. We already know that prices are high. We already know that prices are not adjusting lower. So Whether this data point comes in and shows that inflation is accelerated higher again, we already know this. No surprise. We're not shocked. If it comes in and says inflation's going down, we know that it's BS. We know that it's baloney. We know that that's not true because we're not seeing it in our receipt totals at the store, right? It's not that hard to figure out, right? They can tell us all they want that, inflation has come down and we're all going to be financially well here in just a day or two, right? We're going to be fine. Next month, we're going to have all the money we could ever dream of, right? They can say that all we want. Look at our receipt totals. Those tell us the truth. Those tell us what's really going on. And that's what I think is what's really impacting people, is that it's not about this idea of potentially, prices will come down and life will get better and finances will, improve, stuff like that. Okay, fine. They can say that. But at the end of the day, let's just look at the reality of the matter. When you go to the store to buy your groceries or whatever it is, you pay your utility bills. If this month is more expensive than last month, if every single month is more expensive than the previous month, then we still have the same issue, right? Regardless of what the reports are saying, we know the truth. Make sense? Anyway, does that kind of help you out to better understand what's going on here with these percentages? And again, these are just the leading factor points. These are just the leading indicators, just the leading data points into the months that are most important. And those are the ones that are really going to count. But when it comes down to it, we still have to watch these leading up to it, because if these were all trending lower, then guess what? Going into the 3 most important months, I would say we're probably going to look at a much smaller COLA because they were trending lower. Likely, that's not the case right now. They're not trending lower. They're just kind of sitting here at around this 3% range. So it's kind of where we're at right now. But again, I'll keep you posted on this. Again, thanks so much for watching. Please like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel down below, all those buttons, as well as leave your comments, your questions, your feedback down below. Check out some of the videos here on the channel, the thousands in the video library. Those I've hand-selected for you in the description or the top of the comment section. The ones that you'll see popping up on your screen right now, check out one of those. So I'll see you again in just a minute. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.